sacrifices for essentials of reality. Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 noon, Revolution Radio, and freedomslips.com with information and other students. We have the necessary information to assist you in confidently moving through just about any survival situation. From survival, gardening, off-grid living, medical knowledge, or even natural or man-made EMPs on your list of personal concerns, we have your documents and your personal information in a safe place in your hands so you know where it is. Well, check out our preloaded EMP-proof OneDrive. Over 3 gigs of survival documents and how-tos, plus USDA offline food preservation website, and much, much more, including a surplus bonus we just can't tell you about. With plenty of room left over to store your most important documents. Imagine if a mega virus took out your bank, or all banks for that matter. Are your banking records safe in your hands? So when they get things prepared, you can say, hey, look, this is what I had. You can have it, I want it back. Is your personal addresses, phone numbers, squeeze on over to freedomslips.com. Yes, that's www.freedomslips.com. Click the banner on the homepage for the EMP-proof bullet drive. Get the full scoop of everything that we offer. So, folks, keep your data safe for your peace of mind. Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. You don't need to expect us. We're already. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% sisters radio, and now we return you to your host.
I think I'll do this second half of my show, Friday show, following 4th of July.
Now we can see a new world coming into view. A world in which there is a very real prospect of a new world order. The new world order does not mean surrendering our national sovereignty or forfeiting our interests. He took an oath to defend the Constitution of the United States of America. By some, he's been called controversial. How can I convince you when your ears refuse to hear? You turn your heart away from me each time that I draw near. Your eyes against me provide they blaze away in fear. Now, keep in mind that some of my guests have been approached by Homeland Security or FBI saying, why are you playing on the Clay Douglas show? My guess is to those guys that are listening this morning, go get a cup of coffee, maybe you'll learn something. We both took the same oath, to defend the Constitution against all of these foreign and domestic. I don't recall there being an expiration date on that. How can I contain this anxious pain, knowing that your eyes are blinded by the light? He is the free American Clay Douglas. That's the Free American, weekdays at 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern.
All right, we're back for my second hour here, and I believe I've got Dr. Jake Wade on the line.
Good morning, Clay Douglas. How are you doing?
Good morning, sir. Good morning. Just had a nice conversation with my friend V.K. Durham. Grandma is the way I refer to her. And she's talking about the banks. And I'm originally started this whole show talking about the way demonization is used, the tactics that are used against us by the people that are in control, the whole New World Order crowd. And Grandma, I just wanted to share what she suggests that we do about this. She'd been there with Truman and Operation Hammer and everything else. She said that we need to lock Wall Street out of the White House, the U.S. House and Senate, restore the Glass-Steagall, get the billionaire crooks and criminals out of the U.S. administration, the U.S. House and Senate and State Department, and fire the Fed. And she also sent me this thing, just trying to show how badly you're being used. Did you know that the Wall Street banks are extracting enormous fees from the paychecks of millions of American workers? Would you be angry, folks, if you had to pay a big Wall Street bank a fee before you could get the money you worked so hard to earn? Well, that's exactly the situation that millions of American workers find themselves in today. An increasing number of U.S. companies are only paying their workers using payroll cards that are issued by large financial institutions. Walmart, Home Depot, Walgreens, Taco Bell, and McDonald's are some of the best-known employers that are doing this. There's 4.6 million active payroll cards in the U.S. And Jake, while all this is going on, that's just a part of the way to strip us financially. You're going through a hard time now trying to sell a house that in a great neighborhood, great home and all this. And we, at the same time, this last year, we had over 1 million Americans rendered homeless. To me, this is a war by the banks, and I
already had a closing on this house with the so-called lender, and they're the ones that closed the thing down. It was not the person who was buying, it was not the real estate agent, it was the lender that at the last minute said, oh, we're probably not going to do this, so you'll go home, and after 4 months of setting this up and rescheduling, they tell my wife, what happened?
Now, I just had yesterday, I had the wife of Edgar Steele on my show. Edgar Steele has been sentenced to 50 years in prison for attempting to kill his wife, and, he didn't do that, of course, just set up. And the lawyers set it up. Some of the FBI set it up here. It looks, and the only thing Edgar Steele ever did was tell the truth about, he wrote a book called Defensive Racism, and he defended the Aryan nations and a young couple called the Christies a few years back. He was a lawyer. He defended them. He did his job, and but because he was kind of critical of the Jews that say they're Jews but are not, they rigged him for 50 years in prison, and it's happened to other people. Fritz Springmeier, who has been on my show many times in the past, did almost 10 years in a federal prison. Not that he did anything.
Not licked up the land that is the streets that has the big guns and badges because they don't like to be found out.
You have been under attack, actually, almost since in the last 10 years after they tried to kill me. You'd been on my show before that. We'd been promoting a Little Red Schoolhouse, and they came after you. They tried to destroy your business. They tried to take over your school. And is it possible now that some of these same people are interfering with your sale of your properties?
It could be. I don't know. They sure don't want us to have any way of getting going. I know that. It's been difficult before the towers got shot down or blown up in New York. Prior to that, I had this thing set up. There it was set up well. We had 3 students or better in almost all of our 18 Little Red Schoolhouses, and we were going to be funded by a large insurance company to start privacy abuse recovery and research to handle and research the handling of abused children. We had a site that they were going to buy for us and help us refurbish, and we're going to move everything just south of Luling. And it was going to be an extremely fine place to operate, and we had fun. We were operating on pretty good income. I was paying people salaries, and now it's my wife and I and occasionally you and people that will volunteer, but I have no money to pay anybody anything. We're doing this hanging on by our fingernails, and prior to those towers being knocked down, we were really in pretty good shape. So whatever that span of time is taken that, and like you said, a bunch of hooligans tried to steal what we did have a few years ago, and it's left us sitting on top of a dry mountain looking for something to eat.
Now, do you know that both you and I have always tried to find answers? I love it the way you refer to your Bible as the answer book.
Right.
And you use that well. Now, you know, I don't know how far back the deception goes, but, you know, we're certainly under attack now. The Christians are under attack all over the world. Even in Syria, we're talking about Christians being attacked.
Typically, I can take you back easily to the desert. Everybody knows about Moses and taking probably nearly 1 million that known to be Israelites to the desert at that time. Their problem then, all of the adults, all of those that were over 40 years old when they went into the Promised Land were left in the desert to die because they believed Egypt. They had Egypt ideology. They were loyal to the wrong Lord, if you will, and our Creator didn't want to put up with that. In fact, in Deuteronomy 12, he says, you know, I put you all out of this mess, and I set you up, and I've got you ready to go into what we call the Promised Land, but you ain't going. You just won't quit doing the Egyptian thing. And I'm not bad-mouthing Egypt, I'm not bad-mouthing the Islamics or any of those folks, but he said, if we're doing idols, you're against me. You can't do both. You can't do, you can't mix them together. He literally, in Ezra, told them to send home the wives that brought the idols with them from Babylon, and if you won't do that, send the whole family back. We're not having this to start messing up our country. That happened in this country, and I'm not going to beat up the Jew because the Jews differ from what they call Zionists and what is a continuing Israel type of mentality and ideology, which the Israel type of mentality goes clear back to the time I talked about the desert. All the kings of the popularly named Israel, the northern kingdom, never turned from idolatry. The whole time they have submitted. They haven't to this day. That's why God told them the Bible said, what you always quote, Y'all claim to be nice people, but you ain't. And the Jews, or the Cuban people, really were often, but not always. And again, he tells them, don't follow Israel, because Israel isn't and hasn't done right. So we've got the same thing all over again, and when this country, I believe this country was picked to be a promised land. I really believe that. By God, I think it was set up that way. John Calvin came over here, we talked about this last time. John Calvin came over here in what was called a Puritan movement. They brought a strictly biblical, we're not doing anywhere else, we're not doing idols, we're not bringing any other religion into it. They tried to get them to set the country up on that format. And for the most part, they did. But one of the problems, and you can run with this easily, one of the problems I think we had socioeconomically was that we borrowed money as a country, we borrowed money from Israel-controlled banking. And that set up a stage for what we got nowadays. And I don't want to beat up a bunch of people inward. I want to beat up the Catholic Church, because when you do that, you have a problem of all those people that have been misled like sheep and slaughter under that umbrella. It's the leadership, the elitists, if you will, that sit up there, and because of banking, because of money, because of grain, that Jesus said you can't serve two masters, you can't serve me and money. He made it very clear, and that's banking. So here we sit in the same mode we've been in all along, and I can tell you, if I might throw in one quip real quick from listening to Glenn Beck on my way back from town, there's a lady on there that said this furlough type approach to the military to cut back spending, which, should start in Washington, not out here for our military, but she said not only are they cutting back pay and they're cutting back dollars, but they're also cutting all training for all medical personnel. She's military medical. And those people pointed out, this is at the exact same time he takes almost a $2 million jump for a party in Africa with a bunch of his brothers associates. How many training sessions with $10 million pay with this legislation? And here we are with the leadership having no concern about our military or about our people, because he still wants to party when he wants to party. And I'm sorry, I'm probably going to get shot for playing this out to somebody, but I'll be standing right behind the back when that happens. But it's what happens when you allow a group to run the country just because they've got money, and now you're back to banking again.
Well, Thomas Jefferson told us if you allow a private bank to issue your money, the banks and the corporations that spring up around them will leave you homeless. You leave your children homeless in the land that we conquered.
Here we are.
Well, here we are, right in there. 1 million Americans lost their home. Now, I agree with you that this was the United States. I think was the promised land. We might have had to get here in stages, but it was the promised land. And the Christians out there, so that you refer to as churchiosity, the ones with the Masonic cornerstone over here that don't want you talking to anyone else, or saying certain things that their 501c3 doesn't go along with. This is part of the control. This is a mind control. This is programming. And they don't call Talmud Vision programming for nothing.
Well, you were with me. You were part and parcel of that day when we were at a unnamed church. It was a churchiosity church that came to me on the QT and said, we really ready, you didn't come here anymore because this group, and we traced it back to the nation, this group doesn't like your stand on religion and politics, so you didn't come back here. And we were really barred from the church that we were as a routine most attending.
Now,
Our whole group.
I want to go back because I want your opinion on this. You know, I mean, I'm used to dealing with the trolls. You know, the guys that come into the chat room saying persecuted by Christians. You know, it's they are trying to undermine any faith in Christianity, which ain't really that hard to do. But I put this quote up on the top of my website. It's above everything. And it's a quote. It's a quote. It says, "My feelings as a Christian draw me to my Lord and Savior as a fighter. I'm being drawn to the man who, standing alone with only a few followers, recognized these Jews for what they were and summoned men to fight against them, and who God's truth was the greatest, not as a sufferer, but as a fighter, in boundless love as a Christian and as a man. I've read through the passage which tells us how the Lord at last rose in his might and took up the scourge to drive out of the temple this brood of vipers and adders. How terrific was his fight for the world against the Jewish poison. Today, after 2,000 years, with deepest emotion, I recognize more profoundly than ever the fact that it was for this that he shed his blood upon the cross. As a Christian, I have no duty to allow myself to be cheated, but I have the duty to be a fighter for truth and justice." I said, I could have written this. How badly have you been deceived, and for how long? Now, but I did put the name of the supposed author. Now, I don't know. I don't know whether if he actually wrote this, if he said this, if somebody attributed it to him. And but it was attributed to Adolf Hitler. But I recognize that Andrew Jackson, Old Hickory, referred to the bankers as vipers and adders also. So it's the banks. I don't know if it was the Rothschilds personally, since they were ensconced in the city of London, but I'm pretty sure. What was the banker starts with an M that had the he has a bank in New York and one in Germany. Just slips my.
I think that the Britannica that I got this from, but I believe that they attributed the support of Hitler to the Rothschilds. I'll have to look it up, but I'm guessing that's where I got that.
Well, the same people, I mean, these bankers are the problem now. But there's kind of a revolution happening all over the world. Now, Egypt is, we supposedly got rid of a dictator there. We brought him in. And the Egyptian people were 16 million. Possibly the largest protest in history. And they got their president removed.
But here's my problem with we tend to get pigeonholed behind the movement or the ideology by some individual, and I think that's dangerous. If you call him a Maury or Hitler or whoever, they're really not the problem. The problem is whatever ideology goes along with the idea that you can allow banks to control individuality and initiative and self-government. Then you have the crux of the problem is that you're really taking away their inalienable rights, as the founders of our Constitution put it. And that inalienable means God-given, can't be taken away, can't be alienated from you. And so it's a common thing that they keep different or put a different label on it. It's kind of like the enemy is still banking. I don't know that it makes a whole lot of difference who the guy is that's running the show at the time. He's a figurehead. He was a puppet of that regime or that ideology. And if you look at it that way, it is, as it stated in Age and Sense, we're fighting principalities or ideologies, not people. People aren't our problem. It's the way of thinking.
Now, I think that I have an answer, and the people at the station that agree with me, even the people that don't agree with me all the time, but they agree that this solution has a very good possibility of working and becoming the kind of movement that we need. And you know of what I've planned, the plan called Liberty Villages, for some time. You were willing to create one on your own land right there, or nearby land.
Yeah, I'm still hoping to sell that house if we can get a decent price from it. We plan on buying there's property all around this county that is for sale, and I'd love to have a bunch of it so that we could do these things. But like you stated and set up, in fact, I think get some contact. It can be done inside city limits as well.
That is exactly what I'm. Go ahead. That's exactly what I'm thinking of.
He's up in New England right now, but talking to him on the phone about this thing of us warring between each other. Are we Christian patriots? If we are, we need to quit calling ourselves something else or getting the little groups together to fight with us among ourselves, because as you've always said, Satan has formed these little groups so we can divide and conquer. And, or not we divide and conquer, but we divide and conquered. And we're sitting there. And if we would undivide and say we don't want to be conquered, let's go back to the way it was, we'd have power. And our idea, I agree with you, we need the network. We need to say, I'm not going to make it on my own. Even my little group is too small in a mob-ruled country. If we're not a mob, we got no chance. That's the bottom line. Democracy requires a mob if you want to have any say or any protection. They're not going to come at like they did the David Koresh group. They're not going to come at a group if they're not single. If there's a whole bunch of us, like if we said we have a military or a militia that we can call on, they're called Wagner hunters in Texas. There's an understood, you're not taking my guns sort of mentality here. And if we got that across the board, the old adage, you keep bringing up these old quotes. One of them was, and we teach our kids this, that we teach in our high school program, you cannot enslave a well-educated and well-armed people. Well, they got the education from us already, but they haven't got our guns yet. And I think if we ever allow them to come in and strip us of our weapons, there's probably not much like it. Not the idea of wanting to shoot the weapon, but that we have them in could. We're then dangerous to their cause. They cannot use this food technique on us and get their way. And the other technique that they have is thinking. And you and I have talked about this, and I'm aimed at that. When I sell this house, and I expect to, we're going to pay off what little bit we have left and not owe anybody anything. If you go back to the depression we had in this country, there were millionaires that came out of that didn't go into the depression with a whole lot of money, but they didn't know anybody.
Well, I think I have the answers to this, and you're elucidating it. One thing is that this new plan for Liberty Villages, the problem I ran into with Liberty Villages when I was out in when I owned the north half of Bingham, New Mexico, was nobody could come out there because they didn't have jobs there. They didn't have jobs there. So my solution now, and I based it, I got calls from people when I suggested that if we grew our own food and generated our own energy, then we didn't need the banks for nothing, or the government for nothing. And that's right. Put them back to doing their job. But the I had a woman call me up. A woman called me up and said, you know, we're doing that already. We live in this little town in North Florida, and there's farms all around us. So we generate our own energy. We grow our own food. We're already doing that. And that's true of all these little towns like Socorro, New Mexico, like Carrizozo, New Mexico, like Ruidoso. The people are all around there. But you know, you got your city folk that want to come down and zone the area. And when I suggest doing this, take one city block. You got all your backyards fenced in. Tear down those fences and put in gardens, or leave your fences, put in gardens, put solar and wind on your house. And if you can't do this, then possibly your neighbor could work with you. The kids could come over there to weed the garden, you know, pull the eggs, do whatever needs to be done to make a self-sufficient family farm work. In other words, what I'm proposing here, and it still works if you've already got a farm, if you've got a ranch, if you live out in the country, it still works. You could put a temporary structure on your place, bring the help in you need to do this, and basically what I'm proposing here is turning every house on a block, every other house on a block, into an income producing piece of property. But that won't work, Clay. That won't work. That won't work because there's zoning. The zoning won't let you do that. The neighborhood association won't let you put a windmill on your thing. It spoils the look of the neighborhood. It spoils the look of the prison they got you in. And if you want to be free, if you want to be independent, if you want to be self-sufficient, you have to band together with your neighbors and say, no, we're not going to do that in this neighborhood. If you don't get that work, it never will work. That's right. And what I'm proposing here, and what we're creating, we've already got the website up. what we've already got set up here, we're going to be putting up classifieds. The section will be up on libertyvillages.org. It'll be up on Liberty Villages Co-op, and I propose to create a cooperative, and we'll base it on the Oklahoma Food Co-op. All the paperwork's there. It's working. They got thousands of people working on it. But what I'm proposing now is to bring the country back into the city. They stole our children. They stole our kids from the farms, from the ranches. They lured them. You know, how are you going to get them back on the farm after they've seen L.A.? Go ahead.
Let me interject something real quick. The biggest fear people have, as I talk to folks about this, is, wait a minute, where do we get this? Where do we get that? They're going to do this. They're going to, and speaking, of course, of mostly the federal government, going to come in and do this. They're going to take my check, that sort of thing. The thing that has to be stressed is this plan you're talking about, and it's not one size fits all. It's adaptable to an individual community, but if we did this so we had the greater network, we become a force to be reckoned with. And the thing that is going to get people off the slide is some kind of guarantee that, wait a minute, you don't have to give up your total way of life. You don't have to go live in a little shack someplace and be as if you're incarcerated already. We're trying to avoid that eventuality, and if we don't do something, we will end up in that place.
I don't want to live like a refugee.
Right. And that's what I think a lot of people are afraid of. Here's the thing, if you, as you're doing this co-op thing, the thing that makes it work is, I have talent. I have believed in certain things here, and somebody else, Joe down the road has fruit trees, and this guy over here has got trucking operation and that sort of thing. If you offer to this program, here's what everybody's got in our area, and maybe we need one more thing. We're going to go out and advertise for it, like you were saying. Here's what we need in our group. You want to come help us? You want to join this group because we will share what we got if you'll bring what you've got. And that's back to the way this country started. Which, by the way, is the way my people, the Cherokee Indian, were successfully living before all those people came over here to live with.
That's right. And you know, I've always said I think we ought to go back to, we should have followed the Indians' lifestyle rather than importing the European boxes here. But, you know, if you know, the bad vibes can't gather, they gather up in corners of your little boxes there, you know, and they don't do that in the teepee. But the
brought the Christian thing into it, and we need to do the syntax because Israel is not Judah. Christian is not a name you put over the door to verify you being something that's holy, because that won't work. That's just a label. The term Christian really means a called out people. And that doesn't mean they're stuck in some stained glass window building, a brick and mortar, and going through a bunch of rituals to try to make them think that they're religious. That's a thing which really has messed up the whole idea of Christianity, because Christ, if you look at his history, he didn't spend a whole lot of time in the building. He's on the side of the hill. He's sitting around having dinner with people.
you know, I've told people for years that you know, why don't I see you in church, Clay? I said, because when I walk outside my door, I'm in church.
Where do you get the best feeling get the Splendor that he is the other stuff.
Well, again, I've got the answer to that. It's called a Harley Davidson. And when I take my girlfriend on the Harley, she prays all the way. So I mean, how much better can you get? But the thing here now here's what I'm proposing, and from an economics point of view, the Timothy Bible College and the Little Red Schoolhouse will be offered to everybody, because you shouldn't be sending your children, in my opinion, you shouldn't be sending your children to Columbine or to Sandy Hook. You should be you should be educating them at home, and also at the same time teaching them the skills that we've lost. How do you preserve, how do you prepare? Go ahead.
Amen. Well, if we teach this, we are very out of the box and out of the building in our preparation. Our kids, when they go to college, they start to own businesses. But here's the problem that has escalated to the point that I have zero students right now in this country. All of my students, and there's not very many of those are all foreign. They're actually African. There are people in Africa that believe this is viable and they understand it, but they don't have the fat belly and everybody's bowing to Uncle Sam attitude. They're having to make it on their own, and we're helping them through this program. But the problem is, in the current American home, there's neither father or mother. And the federal school system, what they call the public school system, have been locked in because they're the babysitter. All the way from, and they try to do early childhood and Head Start and all these programs, because they want them the minute you can turn them out of the crib. They want them from then until they're 18 years old for the indoctrination program, and they've got you because you're both working.
That's right. Now, what I am proposing here, and what I want to see happen. Go ahead, sir.
Don't do it the way you're talking about. Everybody's going to have that problem. We're both working because nobody's going to be around if you don't network, if you don't get the co-op going, where all these children are meeting in the same place once a day or a couple of times a week or whatever. And there is an adult supervision available by whoever stays at home in that community. If you don't have that, nobody's going to homeschool.
If we convert our homes into a garden and our roofs into an energy generating device, and at the same time, of course, some states you got to change laws. In Colorado, you can't put a rain barrel under your roof to catch a water runoff.
And they're going to make that worse and worse. They're trying to steal our water underground here. I spent $4,000 to generate by digging the well and putting the equipment in. They're trying to take that from us right now.
It's the part of the control is water. The other control is food. Now this is why. And by the way, I got the water generator sitting right here. It pulls the water from the air and deposits it in a nice little container there.
Well, and we can with solar take care of the energy problem. Without the water in the only produced energy by some collecting device, then they really have a shot at us.
Now the networking on this, I mean, over the last 20 years, I built up such a database of people that are producing. I mean, I can turn you on to people that manufacture solar. You can provide the source for the solar material. If they can build computers in the back shack in a little shed back in the alleyways of Taiwan or Taipei, or China for that matter, why can't we convert our garage and build windmills and solar panels to sell to our neighbors?
Amen. I built the first computer I ever used myself. It's not an impossibility, and the foreign manufacturers are not the only ones who, we are technologically the leader in the world.
Well, we technologically, and let me bring this up too, because I just had Paul Pandone. He invented the GEET system, G-E-E-T system, and he's been persecuted. He's been they've run him out of a couple of states. ADL makes fun of him. Southern Poverty Law tries to put him down, try to paint him like he's and he doubles the gas mileage. That's against national security, and I've had them go up to my father-in-law, one of them, and say, Mr. Babcock, you got to take off that carburetor that you built, because he built a Pogue carburetor. What happens if I don't? We'll kill you. Now, this is it. This is what they want to control the energy you produce. Their idea of greening America is by selling the top of the mountain to a Chinese firm. They'll come in and put the big windmills on there, kill a few eagles, and pipe it down the hill to you and charge you more because to pay for the green. Why can't if we put the solar and the wind on top of our house and siphon off and save the water that falls on our roof, we can live very well, very good lives. Now, what we're
it's cut down my water consumption by about 25 or 30% already, and I haven't got all of my stuff installed, but I am doing that. I'm collecting, I'm putting gutters, and I'm running it into what I used to water my horse with and my dogs with, and now it's coming off the roof. And it cuts your water bill by a whole bunch.
Yeah, in New Mexico, I had an underground water storage unit. All we're talking about, really, we're not talking about any giant modification. And I've been talking about this for over 10 years, haven't I? In that 10 years, these homes have sprung up in California, in L.A., that are growing their food in the backyard. The co-ops have sprung up in Oklahoma, over thousands of people. So we've already had an effect. People are already doing it. All we're doing is going to bring it all together for a central source for information, if you're a part of the co-op. Now, if you're a part of the co-op, and I still get a check for $1,000 or so every year from my telephone co-op that I had in New Mexico. And by doing this co-op, there ain't no rules up here. You don't have to be black, you don't have to be white, you don't have to be Mexican, you don't have to be Christian, you don't have to be a Muslim, you don't have to be a Jew. You're a human being. You can do this. This is what God gave us, the wind, the sun, and the land under your crabgrass.
Amen.
Now, if we can just start thinking as a production center, what can I produce here in my home? Now, frankly, I've always done that. Now, I'm not a mechanic. I had a boat repair company because I had a boat. And so I had my mechanics go out and do other people's boats. And I couldn't do that work. I'm not a mechanic. Randall Mock can fix anything. I can't fix nothing except a computer. And so it's a matter of working together. Now, if you've got, if you're a veteran and you want to go work on a farm and help protect that farm and be productive so you won't be homeless and have something to eat, we'll introduce you to somebody. We'll have a classified page, you know, and you guys can find each other and find the help that you need in the area that you're in. The only thing that we'll be doing different from the Oklahoma thing is each state will be its own separate co-op, and the states work together. The counties in the state work together. That's the centers of distribution, the county seats. And if you start thinking that way, what can I do to help my neighbor over here? Well, you know, he grows those potatoes. We don't have any potatoes on our land. He makes a great solar panel. I mean, the craftsmanship on that is just great. And the neighbor over on that corner, well, he's doing these magnetic generators. Shh, just don't tell the government, because those are perpetual motion machines. But you know, I've talked to half a dozen people that built them and took them down because they were afraid the government was going to attack them. Now, a lot of people are starting to wake up that the government is planning on attacking you. They want to label you a radical. They want to label you. They want to call you names, and they want to tap your phones. They want to know everything you go do, everywhere you go, who you talk to, what you want. Now, the mainstream knows that. Now, what are you going to do about that? This is an answer. You band together and you work with your sheriff, and the sheriff tells the county or the federal government, stay out of our county, we don't need you here.
And if you take, and this is only, this is not everywhere, but I know in our area here, if you incorporate your group as a township, I mean, if they're that closely knit, you really are a separate entity, and if you provide yourself with your own sheriff, then by Constitution, you can tell the federal government to go home.
Right? And that's what we need to do. I mean, come on, your congressman, we've gone through Republicans and Democrats, and as far as I'm concerned, Jake, that's divide and conquer. You're a Republican? Well, I'm a Democrat. You're a conservative? Well, I'm a liberal. Yeah, you're an American, aren't you?
Amen.
All right, and Jake, we've got links at Timothy Bible College up there. We're almost out of time here. Timothy Bible College will be a part of this whole Liberty Village thing. I'll be working on the articles on that this weekend. We should have everything ready to go.
No, we're not trying to make money off Timothy Bible College or Little Red Schoolhouse. The bottom line is that you and I have been preaching this 18 years. It's an education problem. If you look at the bottom line, we have been thumbs down in this country, and the education system, the public one, is absolutely an atrocity. It's an indoctrination program. And the only way we fix this, really, is to re-educate, to get all the way from the toddler just stepping out of the cliff to the 96-year-old. We've got to get a different way of thinking.
I agree. Dr. Jake Wade, thank you. You have a great weekend.
Me too, and kiss that lovely lady for me, because I think she's a dandy.
Well, I would, but she's surrounded by dogs. But and God bless you. Thank you very much. And folks, we're out of time here. I'm Free American. I'm Clay Douglas. Send me an email, clay@freeamerican.com, and you can include money in that if you want to send it via PayPal. I will add you to my list, and we'll do Liberty Villages together. How about that? God bless you.